video on how to bounce your music. Now, what bouncing means is essentially turning it from this Logic project into a mp3. So this means that you can hear it on iTunes, you'll be able to listen to it on your phones and things like that. And it's also how we expect things to be handed in on Moodle. Because we don't want you to just give us a Logic project, we want the mp3. So this is how you would bounce the track. So let's say that I finished my track and I want to bounce it. The first thing that I need to do is I need to set my left and right locator to the very beginning and the very end of the track. So I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag it all the way to the end and stop it there. Why do I do that? Because if I don't do that, when it bounces into an mp3, it's going to include all of this. So you're going to get minutes and minutes and minutes of silence at the end, which we don't want. So you just want it to start at the beginning of your track and finish when your track stops. And that means that your mp3 will be exactly the right length and not miss anything. If I hit play, just to make sure that's okay, you can see it's just going to start at the beginning. Now there's one more thing that I'm going to need everybody to do before they bounce, and that is to add a limiter. Now a limiter is basically what it does is it brings everything up to industry standard level, which means that the whole track isn't going to be too quiet or anything like that. And the way I'm going to do that is not going on any of the individual channels. I'm going to go on this one, on the master channel. If I hit X and bring up my mixer, it's always this one here at the end. See this one here, the stereo out. And this track, this channel here, sorry, is the same as this channel, exactly the same. Now you always want to keep this channel on 0, and the same with the master, you want to keep it on 0. You only really want to be changing the volumes on these tracks here, the individual tracks. Keep this one on 0, but this is the one that we're going to add the limiter to. So you can do it up here, or you can do it over here. Either way, it's going to do exactly the same thing. So as my mouse is here, I'm going to click there. Now, your limiter is under Dynamics, so go to Dynamics, and it's the top one here, Adaptive Limiter. And again, we're just going to go to Stereo, click that, go to our factory default, and then you're going to want to find Average Limit. There it is, second one down, Average Limit. That's it, it's done. Just so you know, that was the volume of it before, and this is the volume of it now. You can see it's gotten louder. The other thing is, say if I go onto here, see it remains the same. Actually, we can see it's possibly turning it down a little bit. It looks like it was a little bit loud here. But it brings everything up to 0 dB. Nothing's going to distort, nothing's going to be too loud or too quiet. And that's all you do, actually, for that. This is like the easiest plugin and the most useful one. So on my output, I've got my limiter. Really important that you do that. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to bounce it out to an mp3. Now the way I do that is I go to File and Bounce, just at the bottom here. And you go to the bottom one, Project or Section. Notice the quick command, which is Command B. So actually, instead of clicking that, I'm going to do it on the keyboard. So I'm going to press Command and B. It's going to bounce it out. So the first thing you can do is you can choose whether you want a WAV file or an mp3. I recommend an mp3. So I'm going to unclick this, I'm going to go for mp3. mp3s are smaller, they won't take as long to get onto Moodle, and also be able to fit more of them onto your phones or mp3 playing devices. When we go on here, this chooses how big the file's going to be, and it chooses the quality of it as well. I like a good quality mp3, so I will go for a minimum of 192. That means it's going to be a good quality mp3. It's going to sound really good, but it's not going to be too big. If you really want to, you can go all the way up to 320, but definitely don't go down here because it will sound terrible, I guarantee it. So yeah, let's go for 192, it's pretty standard. And then you're going to hit OK. You don't need to worry about any of this. You hit OK. And then it says Save As, where we're going to bounce it to. I recommend don't do it to the bouncers because it's really difficult to find. pop it on the desktop. And we'll call this Toby Song 1. Hit bounce. And you can see it's bouncing it out now. So it goes all the way to the end of the track. Now it's going to convert it to an mp3. And it should be on the desktop. So if I minimize this, there it is. If I double click it, it's going to bring up in iTunes, and it's a full song. Again, it's the first time I've opened up iTunes since these computers were re-imaged. There it is, Toby Song 1. Oh. Try and stop that. There we go. That's what I'm going to need you guys to hand in as well on Moodle. So you would just take that and you would drag it into Moodle, into the hand-in box, and it will be there.